This is the Riot Squadcast, a supporter-driven show dedicated to LA Galaxy news, information, and opinions. Here's your hosts, Ed Rodriguez and Chris Zero Cool Tucker.
Welcome to the Riot Squadcast. Did I do that right, Ben?
That was good.
This is the second time around, so we're working on this. But welcome.
Third time around.
Yeah, whatever. Welcome to the Riot Squadcast. I am your friendly neighborhood Chris. I don't know why I started down a Spider-Man road, and I had nowhere to end with that. I'm not joined by Ed in studio today, but he is on the phone remotely. He's going to get in touch with us in just a second. But I am joined by Ben Rodriguez.
Damn.
Look, from my lips to God's ears. I am joined by Ben Aranda, producer Ben. Say hello, Benjamin.
Oh, it's probably freaking out right now.
How are you doing, sir? How's your 48 hours going?
I'm good, man. Had a good night tonight. Went to my kid. She plays futsal indoors. Mm-hmm. 2 goals, 4 assists for the girl tonight. And girl plays with an all-boys team, like pushing the boys.
When you got it, you got it. Gender doesn't matter. It's 2020.
That's true.
She be whatever she wants to be. Ball however she wants to ball. America.
Yep.
The way it's supposed to be. And now I'll welcome my good friend. Coming remotely. Like a water hose. Ed Rodriguez. How are you doing, sir? It's nice to have you, man. I was worried you weren't going to be here.
I'm currently on 710 heading to
Linwood
to go home after a 13-hour workday. I'm chilling. I am not road raging at people. So it's a good night.
That's good. That's a good start. We wish you were coming here, but we totally understand it was kind of last minute.
I've only flipped off 3 people on my way home today.
Well, there you go. That's progress. You got it yesterday, man. Yeah. I tell you, man,
it's definitely no more 17.
I don't like this intro part. I mean, you do this so much smoother than I do. I don't like doing it. I don't want to do it anymore. I need you. You're necessary in my world. The yin to my yang. And like our timing's off. Our timing's a little weird, right, Ben?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, Ed's on the phone, so it's
I'm currently FaceTiming. Yeah, I'm FaceTiming Ben. So, and I have Sprint. So you worked at Sprint. You know how the shitty service they have.
Sprint is shitty, dude.
Someone has definitely fucked up your contract. Like guaranteed. That's what we did. It's all we did. I'll tell this to anyone listening. Really. If you have a cell phone service and you are paying on your phone, you didn't pay for your phone outright, you're probably paying for something you didn't necessarily agree to. If you have any accessory whatsoever that you got from that phone company, you're 100% paying for that. Nobody gets anything for free, especially from Sprint. Like guaranteed. My last day working there, I tweeted out, I was like, if you have Sprint, send me a DM. And people would DM me there, and they would give me their phone number, and I would go through their account and be like, here's where I can lower your bill. Here's what I can change. Because it was my last day. I didn't give a shit. So it was like, because they pay attention to how much money you're bringing in versus, how much you've lowered people's bill. So literally on my last day, I was just slashing people's bills as much as I could. Because,
But Sprint sucks. You had them for how long?
If you're not like inside the asshole of a major metropolitan city, Sprint is terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But Sprint doesn't matter today. It's irrelevant. It's not what we're here for. We're not here for the negativity of Sprint. We're here for the positivity of community. How's that?
I like it. Ed, you should think about switching to like Cricket Mobile or something like that, or whatever the hell that the cheap stuff is, because Sprint just ain't doing it for you, man.
You gotta get one of those
you keep
Obama
cutting
track
in and out.
phones.
Yeah, get an Obama track phone.
Get a track phone.
I know. I'm just
see.
Oh my God, it's not
straight to the hood, so that's the service ain't good in the hood.
So you wanted to? Are you hanging out for a while, or you just wanted to do kind of like the opening segment? What was your plans? Probably should have talked about that.
Bro, I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out as long as I can.
Okay.
Until I'm in my driveway, and then my wife is looking out the window, like, yo, what is he doing?
Who are you talking to?
I'm hanging out till.
Get your ass in the house. So Nick
from State Farm.
I think genuinely, and we've talked about this before. The only benefit this show has over every other Galaxy podcast besides Corner of the Galaxy is that we're all in the same room. The moment one of us are taken out of the room, like fucking Hindenburg. It's all over. None of us are really all that funny.
Oh, exactly.
No one's attractive. Apparently we're not entertaining or informative. Period.
You don't like my timely Jake from State Farm reference?
Sorry.
It would have been much funnier if you didn't cut out for the first half of it. And all we heard was Ache from State Farm.
Damn it.
We should name this episode Ache from State Farm. But we don't bury the lead today, presumably. We leap right in. There is no Lars news.
Yeah,
we're not doing a conventional episode. This was a
you want me to take over a little bit, Chris? Chris,
please.
what happened to you today?
That was some good taking over there, Ed.
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, it was,
right?
the transition is seamless.
Well, let's not beat around the bush, man. Like this is a very special day for the Tucker household.
Let's set it up a little bit.
Okay.
Around what time? Like around 1 o'clock, 1:30, Ed, we get this text, right? Because we're on this group text.
Yeah.
Ed, remember what that text looked like?
Like cryptic. It was like, what you guys do? Who was this?
Who fucked up?
And we're like, what? What the hell's going on?
Well,
and then he sends us. Go ahead.
Well, it's here's the thing. We have preseason game coming up this weekend. We're playing Toronto. That sounds right. All I know is I'm going and I plan on drinking.
I know Toronto's one of the teams. Colorado's one of the teams. Like a doubleheader.
We're playing. So it's Chicago versus Colorado at noon, and then Galaxy versus Toronto at 3. Just an interesting footnote: the Galaxy shuttle to the game doesn't start until 1:30. So it's not, you can't take the free shuttle in for the first game of the doubleheader, only for the second game, which I can understand.
Of course, makes sense.
And so I go in. My family and I were planning on going. Erica was like, we've had some. It's been a difficult year so far. A very, very trying month for my family. We've done a great job, I think, at kind of binding together during this time and being there for each other. But it's been very stressful and difficult. But my wife, she says, oh, you should go to the preseason game. Just if you can go, you should go. I may go, not quite sure. She figured out kind of last minute she's going to end up coming. So I went from needing 2 preseason tickets to 3. I was fairly certain I had 2. Wasn't quite sure I had a 3rd, but I genuinely didn't know. So I was like, oh, let me hop in the ticket manager. Real easy. I do like the current system. It's very easy to kind of figure out where you're at and what you need, and easy to purchase. You can transfer the tickets inside the manager, the whole deal. But I go in there and I'm like, well, let me see if I have 2 tickets or 3. And I look and I have 5, as a matter of fact. I don't know how that happened, but I have 5 tickets for the preseason game. I have 6 tickets for next week's preseason game. But most curiously, I have 2 tickets to every game for the regular season.
So season tickets.
2
season tickets.
Essentially, I have 2 season tickets. I don't know where they came from.
And so what's your first reaction?
So I grew up poor. Like I want to preface it. Like I'm not hoodish by nature. That's not, I watch Frasier. I'm not hoodish naturally.
You're hood adjacent, dude.
I'm hood adjacent. I'll take
your Valley hood.
I
was different kind of hood.
I was definitely Valley poor.
Yeah, Valley hood is a different kind than Basin hood.
Like
Basin hood is like you don't want to be Basin hood. Valley hood, it's bad, but not as bad as Basin hood.
Matt and Andrew, they weren't wealthy, but they were okay. Our buddy David, who's come to a couple Galaxy games, he's in our Discord and all that. David was okay. We were poor. We were Valley poor. We were hood adjacent, as Ed says. But from
is that like Reseda?
No, we were still in Granada Hills. We were just broke. Like I live in a wealthy part of Long Beach. I'm just poor all the time. But my kids aren't gonna get shot walking outside, which is mostly what I'm going for. But I've had season tickets. I had season tickets, I should say, for years and years. I got into the Galaxy around 2006. I think I got my first season ticket. Tommy Mack, who's should be a famous Galaxy fan. Like if you started following the Galaxy in the last like 4 or 5 years, and you're like, oh, I know that guy Zero. He's a notable Galaxy fan, for whatever reason. But you're like, I know that guy Zero. He's a notable Galaxy fan. Tommy Mack, certainly that for me when I was coming into the organization. Him
and the drummer guy from the Galaxians
that had all the planets, the solar system on his head.
So,
yes,
and Linda,
yeah, infamous, but she's certainly in that list. But that's what Tommy Mac was for me. And Tommy Mac bought my entire first season ticket. And he didn't buy a season ticket. He bought me an individual ticket every single week, which is more money. 2009, I worked off. 2008, I collected recycling, and that's how I paid for my my season ticket. I collected recycling every week, and I turned the recycling in, and I bought my match ticket every week.
So, like, when you say collective recycling, you mean like from your work? You mean like
at home, the large tailgate, like family members? I was shiftless. I wasn't doing anything. Like, I'm constantly busy now, and I'm exhausted all the time. Really, that's Erica. Like, Erica is like a diamond where the light gets shown in and she just focuses it. And now I'm like, okay, cool. I got to do this. I need to do that. All this, Ed will attest to it. All this, if his connection ever comes back, all his all my ADHD energy, like all the obsessive energy, was just scattered for decades of my life, just scattered. I meet Erica. She kind of focuses it, helps me, place it in specific areas.
She's your Ritalin?
She's my Ritalin, man.
That's got to be your Valentine card tomorrow.
Boo, you my Ritalin. You keep me focused, girl. You help beat back the anxiety. But like, she helps kind of focus those things for me. So 2009, I literally work for a Larzer, and they buy my season ticket. And they owned a record store, and I worked in their record store every Wednesday. I'm in college at this point, but every Wednesday Wednesday and Thursday rather, after school, I would walk down to the record shop because I didn't have a car because, again, it was fucking useless. So I walked down to the record store and I box records, and that's how it pays for my season ticket in 2009. They end up paying for my ticket through the playoffs, and inevitably bought my ticket to Seattle away in 2009 for the MLS Cup. We've talked about Hey, nice to see you, sir. We've talked about it on the show a couple times, like, but the 09 championship game, the 09 MLS Cup, is like, that is the trip Ed and I became best friends on. Like, Ed performed my wedding in part because of that 09 trip. That's where he and I got, we became, not lovers isn't the phrase you want to use, but he's a guy that he's a guy I love. He's a guy I got immense feelings
You became lover adjacent.
Lover adjacent, yeah. Adjacent's just the name of this. But I traveled to Seattle in 2009 for the MLS Cup on $60, exclusively because someone had already purchased my MLS Cup ticket. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I stayed with Andrew and Ed and our buddy Rigney, and that's how I made that happen. By 2000,
we drove up there, man.
We drove. Andrew drove three quarters of the way.
18 hours straight.
Andrew literally got out of California, and he was like, I'm done. He drove the entire length of California, and as soon as he got out of California, he's like, all right, cool, I'm good. Like, somebody else can take over. And then he ended up taking over the last little stretch. But by 2010, I had purchased season tickets on my own. 2011, 12, 13, 14, just kept maintaining my season tickets after the 2009 year. I met my wife, and I had to kind of shore some shit up and start to grow up a little bit, and that made me take a step back from the Galaxy, gave up my season tickets, moved to Oregon. I changed my world, and I changed my worldview and kind of how I did things. And so I haven't had a season ticket basically since I moved to Oregon, and I've wanted one, and I wanted to get one really, really bad when Damien was born. I wanted him to have a season ticket for his whole life. I wanted him to be able to, be 20, 30 something years old, 40 something years old, and be able to say, I've had a season ticket since I was born. I've had a season ticket since I was 1 year old. So if you can't tell where this story's going, I log in to check on my preseason tickets, and I have 2 season tickets sitting there. My default is to try to, I think it's a mistake. I think I think there's got to be something wrong, because the Galaxy don't exactly give away season tickets. And so
your first instinct is to
my first there you go, Hoodstinct. My first instinct is someone's made a mistake, and it's one of those rare mistakes that just happened to be completely in my favor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to transfer each ticket to, probably my wife's account. Originally, I was just going to make a brand new account that wasn't like, there was no way it was tied to me in any way, and just move those tickets, which, obviously the Galaxy could track those things, but I wasn't exactly trying to make it easy for them.
And every ticket's easily they can cancel it easily.
But if I can somehow slow the process down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and slow that process down as much as I can. So inevitably, I tried to. I decided to do the right thing. I only moved 2 tickets. I moved the home opener to Vancouver way because that's what I really wanted. And I transferred those, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what? That's not right. If it's a mistake, it's just going to get found out anyway. And so if I have to give them back, I may as well give them back with some dignity. I may as well maintain.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm surprised the first ones weren't like the LAFC tickets.
I thought about that, but I'm genuinely trying to. I'm so focused on school now, really. As much as I still talk about the Galaxy, and that's still a lot of my free time, I'm genuinely so focused on school. I thought, okay, I can definitely cut out time for the home opener. I'm going to cut out time for the home opener. Not going to worry about that. LAFC is scheduled so weird, and I didn't even think about it. But also at the time, I kind of planned to take them all out after I moved the initial one, and it wasn't until after I moved the initial ones that I kind of rethought the process and thought, never mind. Let me go out relatively with some dignity. So, but still, at the time, I think it's a mistake. I think someone in the Galaxy fucked up. So I'm trying to figure out how I can verify the authenticity of these tickets in my account without notifying anyone who works for them that would say, oh, well, by mistake, I don't know what Ed's emoticon on your tablet keeps changing, and now it's like a Jewish guy that kind of looks like him, which is somehow more haunting than the poop emoji you were like 2 minutes ago. Just so you know, and it talks, and every time you laugh, it moves. So it's freaking me out a little bit. But so my default is like, okay, well, let me see how I can figure out if these are real, if the situation is authentic, without letting them know and tipping them off and having them get removed. So I don't want to name anybody, but there's a Galaxy. I asked every person that I know. I was like, hey, is this something you did?
Yeah. Hence the cryptic text that we got.
Let me see if let me give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna see if I can can you vamp for me, but I'm gonna try to pull it up really quick.
Yeah, as far as the Ed thing goes, I've been taking selfies with it every single time he changes it, so I'll post all those.
It's changing a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's changing a lot. Although
I didn't think Chris could see it, so that's why I was changing it. I thought only Ben could see it.
No, I was trying to figure a way to put you on camera live, but I couldn't figure that out real quick.
So I asked, I said, I in our group chat, I said, hey, I need you guys to be straight with me. Either of you know anything about this? And then I sent them a screenshot of the 2 tickets for every single game this season. And suffice to say, neither of them did. I texted what we'll refer to as some of the historically more wealthy benefactors of the Riot Squadcast. So I hit up Ronnie Walker because he's the only person I know who seems to have like fuck you money to a degree that they're like, yeah, let me do this like insane Hail Mary. He didn't know anything about it. I asked Erica, I was like, be straight with me. Like, if you spend a bunch of money and you didn't tell me ahead of time that you were spending a bunch of money, like, I would normally be upset. Obviously, that this is something we'll make an exception for. I just want to know so I can stop stressing.
Of course. We'll make an exception for this. Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah, massages and doctor's appointments. Like, we just don't have the funds. But,
yeah, we don't worry about that.
Yeah, Montreal at home, well, let's discuss this. And so she says she doesn't know anything about it. I ask Amy and Matt of Matt and Amy if they know anything about it, and she doesn't know anything. If anything, she's happy that that I would think it's something she could do. Like almost like I'm special. And she was patting me on the head. She was like, "Oh, you're just so cute. You think I got that kind of cash laying around to dump on your dumb ass?" But it obviously had nothing to do with her. And I run through every person that I know, and if every person's being straight with me, I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. So I end up asking a Galaxy rep that I trust. And I know
names?
I'm not gonna give out any names because I don't know if that's something they should be doing.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to put anybody in a position that's going to make anyone look bad or make it difficult. And we do know that there are some of Galaxy people who listen to this. So I don't want to compromise anybody's position. But someone that I know that I know could get access to that, I asked them and I said, can you look into it for me?
Someone that you trust.
Someone that I trust. And I don't need to know the name because clearly if the person wanted me to know their name, I wouldn't have just looked in my ticket manager and found it. So I asked the ticket rep and they checked it and they go 100% real. And I'm like, what?
Because they had to have your name and your email to get to do this.
Right. But not trying to sound like an asshole, and genuinely not. And I spoke with Ben on the phone earlier today, and I told him the same thing. It's like, look, I get it, and I do play. I don't want to say I play pious, but I play it down, and I don't like. I shouldn't say I don't like, but I don't I appreciate, but it's I think like every comedian, there's this like darkness, self-deprecation inside myself, where it's like, why would anyone do something for me?
Yeah, feeling of unworthiness.
Yes, completely. Like feeling like you're a fraud, feeling like you're just going to be found out, like feeling like you don't deserve things. I with that said, I get it. Like I get the, oh my God, he's been a psychopathic level Galaxy fan for a decade and a half. Like there's clearly something wrong with him. No one's getting this person help. So we're just going to let him keep, looking up stats at 2:00 in the morning when he should be asleep. Like I get it. I do get it. And I appreciate it. And I love when people come up and want to talk to me about it.
That's a very good way to put it. We'll just let this fool keep looking up stats at 2 in the morning.
I can't think of a more honest representation of it. But I get it. Like I get why people like me in a Galaxy sense. I don't understand it in any other sense, but specifically in relation to the Galaxy, I get it. But I didn't think it was anything like that. Like they verified it. Someone purchased 2 season tickets in full, paid, done, like, and just dumped it into my ticket manager and didn't say a word. So I asked the reps, I go, well, can you tell me who it is? And they're like, it seems like it's supposed to be anonymous, and that's how we're going to leave it. And I said, okay, well, if you can do me a favor and pass my thanks on. Like if the person would like to remain anonymous, I want to respect that. But it's been a hell of a year, it's been a really, 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 really trying year. And I do genuinely try to put on a happy face most of the time. I try not to complain as much as I used to. I try to be a more positive person, mostly because living in negativity doesn't do a whole lot for you. It just takes more of your energy. It takes more of your time, takes more of your drive and focus. And I don't really have the time to waste in that. You know what I mean? But still, it's just, I wouldn't have imagined anything like that. I so much so that it was like, hit the alarm bells. We need to do an emergency episode tonight. Like, I just have to talk about someone dropping, and it's a little gauche, you shouldn't talk about it, but someone, and it's 2, like it's one for me and it's one for a family member. Like someone dropping damn near $800 on me, I don't really know how to process that. And this show has obviously opened up a lot of avenues like that. And, Ronnie Walker with the Johnny Walker Blue Label for my son, Listener Sees, genuinely just someone I got to meet who happened to really like something that I love and share it with me. You and the countless, and when I say you, I mean Ben, the countless times Ben has just, you guys don't even know, like bailed my family out of bad situations in the last year or so, maybe 2 years. The laptop that I'm doing today's show on is Ben's that he gave me to go to school. Like the avenues this show has opened up in my life for, I don't know, just growth and happiness and seeing people say like, hey man, I'm going to do this thing because I think you'll like it. And that's it. And my friends, I grew up with Matt and Andrew. My friends are ball busters. Like and that's the way it should be. Like they're not exactly the type of people who's like, oh man, you're crying. What's wrong? If I'm crying in front of Andrew, he's going to hit me in the dick and ask me, and then as I'm doubled over, he's like, so is what you were crying about so bad now? Like that's was my friends growing up. And Lars as a whole is like that. Like, David Twig is the type of dude to ask you what's wrong and then like stiffly smack you in the chest and then give you a hug. So it's like, all right, well, I won't give you a hug because I know you're hurting, but it's like, I'm hurting because you just hit me in the fucking chest. Like normal people just say, hey man, what's wrong? Like we're a family and we're in families, you get, a little bit of infighting, you get a little bit of tit for tat, a little bit of this and that, but I never saw something like this happening, like something of that magnitude. I appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And if I can't thank you by name, whomever this person is, I hope you get to hear this, and I do hope you're a listener, and I get to at least say thank you here.
I hope
and then I'll send you my email address if you ever want to send me a partial plan or anything like that.
Yeah, mini game plan.
I mean, I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking for a full season.
How about
6 games? I mean, come on.
a single ticket here or
Tossing
there.
an LAFC at San Jose away,
I mean, I'll send you. I'll DM you my emails. Whatever. It's all good.
I genuinely can't say enough. Like, thank you.
I mean, it's insane, dude. When you sent the screenshot, I'm like, dude, someone totally bought you 2 full season tickets. I was like, that's insane.
Yeah. And you know what? They went, and it's good. The tickets are in 237, so they're in the bleachers just above Lars. Which I'm going to sit in Lars. Fucking security. They don't give a shit to people who don't just walk all over the stadium wherever they want to go. They're definitely not going to care about me. And I thought about it. I was like, maybe I move the tickets to Lars. And it's like, but I could just stroll into the Riot Squad section. I want to give the season ticket number to Lars. That's just the default for how my running the supporters group for a couple years and being involved in it for a decade, I think, or around there. My default is always like, how do we boost the group numbers? Because supporters group numbers are important. It's bargaining power.
Especially right now for Lars.
Well, if Lars didn't have, and I'm genuinely not trying to get into this debate, but if Lars had a very, very low season ticket holder number, they may have just forced us to move to Victoria Block.
Yeah.
But you have Lars saying, I will cancel my tickets if you force us to move. And then miraculously the Galaxy is like, well, we're not going to force you to move. For the record, if these tickets were paid for by someone who works for the Galaxy, I'm not exactly being negative towards you guys. I'm just saying, and I think we can all agree. I don't,
You're not trying to bite the hand that feeds, man.
Fuck no, sir. But I think we can all agree there is strength in supporters group numbers, supporters group membership numbers, season ticket numbers for supporters groups. Like, these things are important. There is a minimum, and every group in the stadium is well above that minimum. But there's power, there's negotiating strength in high season ticket numbers. So my default was, how do I get the ticket down to the Lars section? I'm going to leave it where it's at. Like, that, it was a gift. And that gift was intended in one section. But how fucking down is this person? Whoever this person is, how fucking down is this person? The ticket's in 237, not 137 or 138. The home opener is in 137, 138. And LAFC is in 137, 138. Like, the whole season ticket is in the cheaper section. And if you're ever going to do something for me, go bottom basement. Like, don't blow your money on me. Like, if you're going to do something, keep it nice and minimalist. But to get it right and to go, well, what are the 2 games he's definitely going to want to be in the Lars section? The home opener and fucking scumbags. Like, it's been a trying month and week and year, and literally each individual day is a small private battle. But whoever you are, you did good today. Like, you made an old, tired man very happy, and I appreciate it. My wife was even happy. She was like, Erica's default was, I will do whatever it takes to get you to as many games as I can. Like, because our schedule's crazy and things are very hectic right now, and there's still a lot going on, and there'll be a lot going on tomorrow and next week and next month and next year, and it's just going to keep going this way for a while. But that's one less thing. Like, when the schedules work out and I can go, I don't even have to think about it. Like, when the schedule works out, it's like, oh, fucking, I'm going to Galaxy. And I was certain I wasn't going to have one this year. Dead certain. Next year, after I graduate, get a nice job, boom, season tickets. One of the first things I purchased. Like, I'm back in. Somebody just moved that timeline up 12, 13 months. It's beautiful. I genuinely wouldn't know how to thank you if I knew who you were. Probably a lot of oral, not going to lie. Decent amount of oral sex. I don't know what to do with the balls if you're a dude, but I'll figure it out, make it work. I want you to be as happy as I am. That's mostly what's important.
You just tickle them a little bit, man.
Yes,
It's orgasmic.
My understanding is you want to do just enough. Don't go crazy. It's not speed bags. Not speed bags. It's like hard boiled eggs.
Exactly.
You're trying to shove in your mouth at once.
It's Wubba Lubba Dub Dub.
So if you're in the live chat, you're more than welcome to call in 562-641. No, it's not up. Oh, because we're on the phone with Ed. You can't call in. But if you have
I've been sitting in my driveway for like 20 minutes now, so I'll probably get out.
Gonna go inside. I don't want you to get beaten up or anything, so definitely head inside. Is there anything you want to add on before you dip?
I still have to like eat dinner and shit too, so that's like
that might be important. So what you're telling us is your woman got dinner on the table for you when you get home, Ed?
Oh no.
Bro, don't speak crazy. Don't speak crazy. She'll know. And I know she doesn't listen to this. She'll still know. I am getting. No.
I mean, she usually does have dinner because she is like went to school for culinary arts, so I'm not the one cooking.
We do have a comment in the live chat, Ed. That's it's from Big Tony. How you doing, Big Tone? And he's saying, have you considered that one ticket is for me and one ticket is for Ed? I verified with actually. So after I checked with the first ticket rep, I went and verified back with the second ticket rep just to be certain that it was legitimate, because I think it's clear at this point this would be the cruelest joke of all time. The second ticket rep has access to whomever purchased it, and my understanding is it's very clear it's for me and my family. Obviously Ed is whenever there's a spare ticket available, he's always welcome. Ed is
apparently this is not Fast and the Furious rules. We are not family. It's fine. It's all right, dude.
Bro, you want to be out of my Fast and the Furious family? Like, I just offered you a ticket. You're being a dick about it. What do you want?
I don't have friends. I have family.
There you go. The rest, everybody else ran back to the crib.
Don Fredo said you could have his ticket.
Get me out of handcuffs.
Hey Ed, Don Fredo said you could have his ticket for this weekend coming up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Boom. We'll get in. We'll party it up.
Hopefully you have a rest of a good night. I am going to go inside and enjoy like the hour I have with my wife before I have to go to bed. Mazel tov on the tickets, Chris. I'm like super stoked for you, man.
Just so I know, while I have you here, you definitely didn't buy them.
I don't have tickets for myself. Why the hell would I buy them for you?
Well, I'm trying to make you sound like a good person. Like Mother Teresa would be like, "Yo, I bought you season tickets. I didn't get season tickets." Also, that poor person can't have medicine.
Come on, dude.
I like how your position is like Mother Teresa's an idiot.
Hanging out with people with like cholera and shit. I ain't doing that.
You're a good person, sir.
And he wonders why no one bought him a season ticket.
Right? I'd be like, yeah, man, I'd totally buy you a season ticket, even if it's bullshit. You're like, yeah, man, I'd totally buy you a season ticket. You're good fucking people.
Oh, no. I'm saying if I had the funds to buy myself and you tickets, I'd be like, absolutely. But if I'm not even buying myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy someone else tickets.
I think what I'm hearing is there's no way in the world I'm buying you 2 season tickets instead of buying you one and me one, which I think is fair.
I think you're just trying to cover for him. I'm trying to cover for it.
Trying to help, man. 2021's right around the corner.
Shut up, Ben.
All right, sir. Thank you for calling. We appreciate it.
Hey, have a good one, brother.
Have a great night.
Be well.
Bye.
Oh, Benny. I don't know where to go from there. Like that's the reason we're here. Should we wrap up? Literally the reason we were here.
Unless someone wants to call in.
If someone wants to call in from the live chat, we're live and going. As soon as we wrap this up, like I'm just gonna head home. It's still been a very long day. But as always, I would love to talk to Galaxy fans whenever there's an opportunity to do so. I'm genuinely gonna try to make it out to every home game. I'm trying to look at employment opportunities that would free those weekends up a little bit, so that I can come out a little more often, bring the boy, bring the girl, bring the baby, try to get these, make this a more regular thing. I can tell you, there are 2 season tickets. I am definitively giving one to my son, who is, he's too young to even need a ticket, but I want him to be able to say, since I was 17 months old, I've had a season ticket with the LA Galaxy. So that when all of us poor saps are long gone and worm food, this kid will be like, yeah, I've maintained a season ticket for 43 years. Or I've maintained a season ticket for 45 years. Maybe he doesn't like soccer, and that's his decision to make. But I can tell you, if at 33 years old, I was able to say I've had a Galaxy season ticket for 32 years, I'd be pretty fucking happy. So he's at least going to have the opportunity someday to say, hey, I've had a season ticket not longer than most people, but continuously since literally as far back as I can remember. And as a dad and a Galaxy fan, and I like to think that's the order that comes in, I can't think of anything that would make me any happier,
Yeah, that's the dream, man. That's the dream. So I was that way with my girls. My girls, for the first 10 years of my oldest one's life, She knew nothing but Galaxy tickets.
Yeah, that's the way it should.
Yeah.
I went through this. I'm gonna cough.
Well,
So.
okay, and that's how. That's honestly, that's how we get to what they have overseas. That's how you get to the 100 years of, tradition of generations and generations being,
yes,
fans of the same team.
Yes, you can't.
It's got to start somewhere.
You can't. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the frustration that goes through me when I think about these things. It's something the Galaxy has struggled with. Previously, early on, something we struggled with back in like 2006, 7, when we started looking at how we wanted to view our history, and decided to start changing some things up for notable players. In 96 and 97, I'm fairly certain, for both years, the team photos are taken in black and white. Fucking 1996, fucking 1997. Star Wars was back in the theaters in 1997. Why are we special edition with all these new graphics and musical notes and all this other shit? But we're taking photos in black and white. Why? Because the first couple photos in England of their teams are in black and white. So they got to be in black and white. And you don't punish current administrations for past administrations' mistakes. You got to kind of move on. But we've struggled with that identity and how we choose to portray our history. We saw it again when Gerrard came around, and it was time to start shuffling out from Landon and that Landon Kobe Keane era into this new European Euro snobby area, and we're lining up these matchups as it's Gerrard versus Lampard. It's not the Galaxy versus NY. We're getting back to these the team is smaller than these individuals. But if you want to build, there's a lovely documentary on Juventus that's on Netflix, and it shows how the entire team has to go to basically the farm of the family that's owned Juve for like 100 years or something like that. And it's a big party and all these things, but it's a long-standing tradition. Long-standing traditions have to start somewhere, and it's not glamorous. The start of a tradition is never glamorous. I tweeted about it this week. It's crazy to think. It blows my mind, and it genuinely comes down to when you started following the league, really seriously, and when you started following the Galaxy. And if you're relatively new, if you're a 2013, 2014 person, whatever, don't get down on yourself, because you're starting your new tradition. Like in 40 years, you're going to be like, oh, I've been supporting the Galaxy for 45 years, 46 years. But year one starts somewhere. And this may be your year one. 2013 may have been your year one.
Yeah. Since we gave up our season tickets, my oldest daughter, has said nothing more than, "Hey, we get tickets back. We get our season tickets."
There's something in being a season ticket holder. And I know we're all season ticket members now, and I don't know what the difference is. I'm a paid member of the Riot Squad, and that membership is live, by the way. $25 at lariot.org. Helps get you in the raffle for LAFC away, and first dibs for away tickets, because they get divided to the supporters groups. So whether you consider yourself a member of Lars or consider yourself a member of the ACB, probably a good idea to get memberships with both. Increases the likelihood of you getting important away tickets, discounts, free merchandise, shit like that. And at the end of the day, just helps support the supporters groups, helps them fund a lot of the initiatives and projects that they have. If you can spend $50 on 2 beers inside the stadium, you can spend $50 on membership for 2 supporters groups and kind of help that noise and that atmosphere that everyone seems to love. But I get to start a tradition with my son. You know what I mean? That I there's no two ways about it. And I'm working very, very hard to move my family out of the situation, but I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not going to hide it for something I flat out can't afford. I cannot afford it. I would love to afford it. You know what's worse? I can afford it. I can't afford it, but I can't afford it. Like, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Every parent, every adult knows what I mean. I have the money right now to buy a season ticket, and I can't buy that season ticket because that money is already allocated out 15 different places. And that's the nature of the beast. That's being an adult. But we're building this tradition, and now I get to add my son to this tradition. I can bring Jonas, my eldest boy, who's 15 and doesn't give a shit about sports, and passively, he watched the Milan Derby with me and genuinely enjoyed it because one team went up 2-0.
That was a crazy game.
AC or Milan went up 2-0, and he's like, well, which is the better team? And I'm like, if the team in blue wins, they're in first place. And he was like, oh, well, it's great Milan went up. And I was like, oh, fuck Milan. But, I understand. And then Inter came back, and that was a fascinating game. But if I can bring him to 10 games in a season where he gets to see it over and over again, he gets to meet kids his age, he gets to feel a sense of belonging to people that he has no real reason to belong to, which is something I went through when I was slightly older than he is now. That's how I get to a place where, you're like the Timbers, where people are like, I can't give up my season ticket. I'll never get it back. You can't hotshot yourself to 40 years of history. Yeah. You can't hotshot yourself to 50, 60, 70 years of history. We were building that history back in 2006. We were, painting tifos with capos the night before 2011 MLS Cup in the rain because it had to get done. It absolutely had to get done. Those things that I dedicated so many years of my life to, that I'm not going to lie to you, even back then felt like a waste of time. It just did. I knew it's what I had to do, and I knew it's what I wanted to do. And that in a lot of instances, if I didn't, no one else would do it. Oftentimes to the detriment of my own life. I got a couple ex-girlfriends that I probably owe some apologies to, because they were like, well, it's me or the Galaxy. And it's like, ooh, honey, you do not want to reference this because it is never, ever going to work out for you. It's a very, very nice thing. And I don't know how to not, over explain how amazing it is and how touched I was by the gesture. It's fantastic.
No, I fully understand. And I got to be honest, Tuck, you know what? As much joy as you bring to all of us out there, even me sitting in here interacting with you guys and producing the show, just going back and listening to the show before I even started producing the show, the joy you bring to everyone else, it's karma, man.
I just saw the nicest thing in the live chat from Penguin Hunter, which is just an amazing name. Is there anything more exciting than seeing Tucker excited?
No, not really.
What a nice fucking, again, for someone who is just constantly beating themselves down, what a nice thing to read about yourself, Yeah.
Outside of my youngest, who has this little things.
Is that the one that's mean to you?
Yeah, but she whenever she does something good or something, she just goes yes, with her arm, like yes.
You gotta appreciate the full fist pump, man.
No, you're like a little kid when something good happens to you. That little kid in you comes out. Yeah,
I want to share it, and the Galaxy is and has been for a long time an extended family of mine. They helped me battle crippling depression in 2006. Crippling depression. We're talking like.
What year was this? 2006.
Probably 2007.
Because we were bad in 2007.
We were bad in 2007. We were bad 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
We retooled the squad in 2006 in preparation for Beckham coming. And then Frank Yallop came in and sliced Kevin Hartman out and Herc out and all these other people out. Just ruined the team. Absolutely the worst coach we've ever had by a country mile. But 2007, we're talking like I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. We're talking like I'm in bed in the dark, spending days under the blankets, not wanting to do anything, just criminally depressed. And then, I say Matt, if you don't know Matt, it's Matthew Alisana and Andrew Alisana, the Capo Supremo. They're brothers. We all grew up together. Matt would be like, hey, man, you're fucking going to the G's game. You ready? Like, I'm going to swoop by and pick you up. And I get picked up and like the Tucker you're hearing now, that's when this dude started showing up. Because before, I talked all the time, but I was mean to people. I was mean because I was angry. I was depressed. But then the happy came, the joyous came, the outgoing came, the fun came, because I was in this element where everyone's equal, everyone's family, everyone looks out for each other. People are like, oh, I've slept on that dude's couch. I used to work with that guy. I lived with them for 2 years. And I'm like, but how do you know them? And they're like, oh, I've stood next to them at soccer games for the last 6 years. And that family unit just kind of built up. Lars helped me understand, like, just because you're fucking blood related to someone doesn't mean you owe them anything. Doesn't mean you need to spend your time with them. Doesn't mean you need, they're deserving of your attention. They're deserving of your money or your resources, or just because you're blood. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, I got your back, and I always got your back. It's a culmination of, for me, it's a culmination of 15 years, like a long 15 years of unbridled, unwavering dedication. Like, I found something I loved, and I just loved it. And I loved it without expecting anything. I loved it without wanting anything in return. Like, just an occasional win. Occasional win. And we had seasons where we even drew left, right, and center. So you don't even get a result. Just an occasional win. All I'm really asking for. Seeing my friends every week. All I really ask for. Like, from that to someone being like, hey man, it's going to make you really happy. That's the reason I'm going to do it. And I don't even need you to know that it's me. I don't need credit for it. I just want to be like, hey man, here you go.
It's unbelievable, man.
Not even here you go, because I just happened to find out looking for a preseason ticket that someone else gifted me. It's the community, man. The fucking Galaxy community. Second to none. Second to none. By a country mile.
Like, like we were talking about, and I was telling my wife when I was telling her this story, that, you know what? The Riot Squad and the fans of our show, by far the best fans around.
I'm not trying to disrespect. He's my boy. I'm not, you know what? I'll pull it back a little further. I texted Guessman. I was like, yo, man, is this you? Because I know you got a press pass, and I know you got season tickets. Did you just move your, because it would make some sense. And I was trying to, this is what you got to understand. Someone gifting me 2 full season tickets doesn't make logical sense. So the type of person I am, I need to go down the list of logical answers.
How many people did you get to, man?
7, 8.
So after 8, you're like, all right, I gotta let it.
After 8, I texted my Galaxy person.
Yeah.
And then my Galaxy person was 9, and then my other Galaxy person was 10. Where I checked out 2 people and was like, hey, can you verify this for me? Because the type of, you hear it on the show, the type of person I am, I have to go logical. It's not about how you feel about something. Everything logically tells me there has to be a mistake. So going through it logically, like I just try to check off. Guessman logically would make some sense. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah. I know he has season tickets.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. It's something he would do. For me, and don't ask him to give you his ticket.
And he's got that same situation, with his newborn son too. That I'm sure he's probably looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, so it made sense. And he's like, hey man, much like Amy, he was like, would that I could. It's just not a position, it's not a position I'm in. And I'm like, it's cool. I'm, fuck you, but it's cool. I'm just trying to figure out, like, who would do something like that, who actively did something like that. So no disrespect to Josh at all, or Corner of the Galaxy.
They do great work,
but you can't touch it.
Yeah,
you can't touch Riot Squadcast listeners.
No,
you absolutely can't touch them. I definitely hope they also listen to your podcast, and I encourage everyone to follow the independent media of every person who is working in independent media to cover the Galaxy. Not necessarily because you like the work that they do, but that's how you keep them in the game so they get better. If someone is, if someone is working on blog posts, and you and I need to talk about that. We're going to get a writer for RiotSquadcast.com or Squadcast. It was Riot Squadcast. We're going to get a writer for RiotSquadcast.com who will start doing at least weekly articles for us. It is not me. It's not Ed. It's not Ben. It's someone who is a good writer.
Who has time?
If you're on it, not only do they have time, that's the only thing they're going to have to focus on in respects to the Squadcast. I would hope you would all view them as a Squadcast member. They're going to become one of us. I would like to get him on the show. It's a him. I would like to get him on the show soon so that you can get a taste of his flavor and kind of how he looks. That's disgusting. But you can get a taste of you can get an understanding of how he views things and the prism he kind of puts things through in his writing. But if you're already on Galaxy Twitter, like, this person, you're going to be excited that this person is working with us. It's a get. as they say. But like, support them all. Like it's this is the club mentality. This is the thing you all wanted when you want to move away from these franchises and these organizations and these teams. Like if you want a club, this is an action of a club. Like this isn't an action of a franchise. This isn't a franchise. This is something that meant so much to someone that they're like, I'm going to go out of pocket damn near to the tune of $1,000. I'm going to go out of pocket because there is someone who has to be there. Like, that's the way I looked at it. Like, it's someone who's like, if I can help do it, this person has to be there. And I'm going to make the move as necessary to make it happen. Support all those people. You know, I'm a little iffy on LA Galaxy Confidential right now because it's being ran by that girl who did the LAFC thing. But whatever. Whatever.
I'm very iffy on that right
whatever.
now.
I want to give, I'll be honest, and you guys should all bother him online. I told Mike Gray he should come right for us. I was like, we don't have a press pass, and you're probably never going to get a press pass being associated with us. But if you want to talk about the Galaxy and say whatever the shit you want, like, come right for us. I'll let you know.
I agree with that, dude. If you're on Twitter, yeah, you bug Mike Gray. We'd love to have Mike Gray write for us. Maybe we could get a press pass if Mike Gray wrote for us.
He's more reasonable. Probably if you stop talking about some things, we could probably get a press pass.
I've been good, man. I've been on best behavior like a month now.
I'll tell you this: at the V Block party, LA is our house was on the grass. I'm just pointing that out. Pointing that out. LA is our house was on the grass with all the reporters, and you should definitely check those guys out. They're doing amazing work right now.
Good work, yeah. Actually, they all do good work. Dude, straight from the stands does good. Even Simply Soccer they all do some good work.
Alicia, who's currently running LA Galaxy Confidential, objectively does good work. She does. She objectively does good work. And if her writing style is something that suits you and something that you're into, go give her a read. Give her at a minimum, she's trying. And I watched MLS when no one tried. And the people who did try, there was no real way to get that information unless you personally knew them. So like, support those people, help them grow, help them get better, help them look at it and say there is a market and there is an environment and an atmosphere looking for what I'm attempting to do. So let me hone up my skills, let me hone up my work and make my ship as tight as it can be so that when I do present that out, I can receive the feedback that I want. And then that encourages them to go even further. You can't ignore these people and you can't dog them out. You can't say, oh, this person sucks and this person sucks. And then look up and go, why does nobody cover the Galaxy? Well, that's why. Because you're an asshole to them. Like, Baxter used to love the Galaxy. Now he hates the Galaxy. Like, there's a reason. There's a timeline. There's a progression of events that gets us to these people who don't like the club anymore. So just support them.
And they're all worth a listen.
They're all worth a shot, and they all bring something different.
Yeah, everybody brings something.
Everybody brings something different. And at the end of the day, it's just opinions.
I miss the Super Pod though, Doc.
I wish I could have made it. We have some family crisis going on.
Yeah.
That kept me from going to that Mega Pod, Super Pod, whatever it was. But I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, me too. But unfortunately, I had work to do.
There's looking in the live chat again, and I'm seeing. The Deviant 32 says the FO culture is not supporter culture. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't think you're wrong. I can tell you, like, Chris Klein genuinely likes supporters groups. I remember the first time I met him when he just ascended to the presidency officially, although he was basically running as a de facto president in 2012, and is partially responsible for that MLS Cup, although that technically was Chris McGowan's team. Who left to become, I think, CEO of the Portland Trailblazers or something with the Trailblazers. But my first time I met Chris Klein when he got the job, and Ed called him really beautiful to his face, just as a heads up. Klein asked what he needed to do to extend Lars all the way to the tunnel. And he's like, what do we need to do? And that was the first person I met in supporter, in leadership, in front office management leadership, that ask the question of what do we have to do? Not what do you need to do? Or what do you guys need to change? The onus wasn't on us. It was, well, how can I help you get to this point? How can I, looking at it today, making it akin to Klein asking the ACB, what do we need to do to help you fill out the V block? Galaxy Outlaws, what do we need to do to help you fill out the V block? How do we help you grow to ACB numbers, which should be the goal? He's the only person I can think of that posed the question in, well, what changes can we make to make it the job that you guys do even easier? There is definitely an element of people who are in decision-making positions in the Galaxy who do not look at the Galaxy through a supporter's lens. That's objectively true. But there are very, very, very powerful people who work there. I can guarantee you the top 3 people in the Galaxy who aren't GBS and DTK. Those are less about the architecture of the organization and more about how we produce on the field. But looking at the people who are influencing the architecture of the organization as a whole, the top 3 people that I can think of, and believe me, the top 3 people I can think of are a lot higher than the top 3 people you can think of. Those top 3 people really, really, really want the supporters groups to thrive. The onus is on us to repay that faith. The onus is on us to bring this. This is the season. It's going to be hard with Hernandez. It's going to be a little hard, but this is the season where we say, well, what game can every single person bring somebody? Find a new person and bring them. You sit in V block. It's not the first week, not the second week, not the third week, but as attention starts to wane a little bit, as not every person is showing up to every game, and hopefully every person shows up to every game. Hopefully that whole section gets filled out with season ticket holders.
Like our home game against Colorado, bring somebody.
Someone that nobody gives a shit about, like Columbus. Yes, a Caleb Porter team where everybody's bored because he's an asshole. Like everyone, bring somebody, and bring someone who not someone who hates soccer or someone who's already a Galaxy fan. Bring someone who might be curious and rope them, get them in. I was brought to one game. Believe me when I tell you, I'm the scummiest of the scum. I am no different than literally anybody else. The difference between you and me is I think about the Galaxy probably 19 hours a day because I get about 5 hours of sleep. That's the only difference between you and me. And you probably have way more money in your bank account right now. And your credit score is infinitely better. But the only difference is I think about it a lot. But somebody brought me to a game. Somebody brought me to one game. And you know what it was, Ben? You know what flicked the light switch for me? And it's the same thing I reference to people now. It's the same thing. I've mentioned this to Euro snobs for a decade now. It's the smell of the grass. It's beautiful. You can't replicate it. You can go to any park in the world. Doesn't smell like the Stubby or the Diggs or the Home Depot Center or the Vic or whatever you call it. There's the grass. It's my grass. It's my slice of earth. In all the world, that is my fucking grass. So you live in Santa Monica and you're a Man United fan? Well, what does Old Trafford smell like? Piss in England, presumably. But
let's not get crazy.
It
smells like dreams, Doc. It smells like dreams.
God, that whole place is a nightmare right now. You're dreaming of it looks like Pochettino's gonna go there.
Yeah,
it's nice. He's spend $1 billion. It'll be funny. But you might convince Pogba to stay.
Yeah, well, and they're chasing what's his name, Sancho hard.
Jadon Sancho looks like they're gonna get him.
Well, it's between them and
him
Chelsea.
And Chelsea.
Yeah.
But anyway, the smell of my grass, what my stadium lights look like, what my announcer looks like, what my overpriced beer tastes like,
and what the tailgate is.
But the tailgate is everything.
Go and bring somebody and bring them by the tailgate. I mean, the first time I brought my brother by the tailgate, now he can't stop talking about it.
Get him drunk. Come on over.
It's like nobody knew him. Nobody really knew me. And someone's like, oh yeah, hey, how you doing? And to put a beer in my brother's hand, like the first thing. Well, obviously that made him happy. And that was it from there. So now every time we go, it's like, hey, we got to go hang out with Lars.
But all I'm saying is, I guess thank you. And not just for the tickets, although they're amazing. They're incredible. And I'm eternally grateful for it. I genuinely am. You're going to help me make memories with both my sons. You're going to hopefully help me make some memories with my daughter. You'll have a date night for me and my wife. We'll Uber to the game and we'll have a good old time. Thank you for that individual person, whomever you are. By the way, individual person, if you choose so, like, we can get you some Patreon episodes. We'll figure something out. You can come into the show if you want, but it's up to you. That's if you decide you want to be known. But when I say thank you, as well as to that person, as special as that person is, to the greater Galaxy community as a whole. I met my best friends because of the Galaxy. My wife knew I was serious about her because I canceled a meeting like 2 hours before a meeting. And I mean, literally, like, I texted, "Hey, I'm not going. We have to reschedule." And the meeting didn't happen because that's kind of where I was at that time. She knew I was serious because I canceled a meeting with the Galaxy. I tell this story quietly and I tell it to him. But it should be public because this is, again, it's a very emotional like 7 days for me. I saw my brother for the first time in like 4.5 years the other day, because we were, not seeing eye to eye on stupid things, and it takes nothing for one of our lives to get snuffed out, and we just never have a conversation again, which I would regret. Assuming it's him, I guess I would regret for the rest of my life. I saw my brother who held my son, who called me daddy in front of him. I've had something of an emotional week, but Brendan Hannon is, I don't even know what his job title is anymore. I've known him for a few years since.
I'm pretty sure his business card says Overlord.
That's overseer.
Yeah.
I flew up to see my wife, my now wife. I flew up to Portland to see her for her birthday on Brendan's air miles because I paid rent and was busted out and couldn't afford it. And she really, really needed to see me at the time. Not like for a dickin', but like emotionally, she needed some actual like human adult support. Brendan gave me his air miles so that I could fly up to Portland. Like, my son is here because of an entirely selfless thing. Never tweeted about it. Like, didn't DM me on social media, anything I could screen. Just texted me and was like, "Hey man, I don't know if I got enough, but I got a lot. So let me know when you got to go and we'll figure it out." And we figured it out. And then I moved to Portland 3 or 4 months later. And now I'm married with my son and my 2 older children. And my life is entirely different because of the Galaxy, because of this soccer team, this club, this proper fucking real, authentic family club. You guys take it for granted, man. If you put into it, if you invest into it, again, I'm just a dude who someone took to a game one day. That's it. I'm just a guy where someone was like, "Hey man, you like English soccer? Why don't you come check out Major League Soccer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know the Galaxy. I used to watch them." And it was like, "Oh, you should check it out. We got our own stadium now." And I was like, "Okay." And I went. And literally changed my life. So I couldn't recommend it more highly. Make of it what you want it to be. That's it. You sit on the sidelines. That's the thing with the moving seat. Where are we at, Ben? Where are we at in time? I don't want to go too crazy.
Got about 3 to 5 minutes left.
3 to 5? Okay. The moving, this is not the topic for 3 to 5 minutes. The moving seats debacle. My main issue with that is people who love the atmosphere of the stadium. But don't want to move to a supporters group. They just want to tell other people how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, how about this? I'm not going to say stop telling Lars to move. You want to tell Lars to move, that's your prerogative. We're going to, I assure you, we're going to ignore you. But you want to keep telling Lars to move, But can I advise this? Why don't you start a supporters group where you're sitting? Start one in your section. And turn your 114. I'm thinking of my buddy Jeff right now. Turn Jeff in 109. Turn 109, all of 109, into the most raucous little section in the stadium. There's nothing innately special about members of supporters groups. There's nothing innately special about them. They just put in a little more time and a little more energy. That's it. They're not better than you. They're not better fans than you. No member of a supporters group is a better fan than you. They might put in a little more time. They might put in a little more effort, but that's it. Like you are one banner away. Look at you want an example? The Ghost Ultras. The Ghost Ultras started up what, year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
If that.
Like they're in Galaxy Media footage now. Just because someone said, hey, the way I want to support is not being represented. So I'm not going to try to rise in the ranks of a supporters group and change that's already built that I didn't do anything for. I'm not going to try to rise up. Granted, that's what I did. I'm not going to try to rise up through the ranks. Literally what I did. I came into Lars. I was like, no one here is overly loud. I'm just going to scream in the second row until everybody moves away from me. But they didn't see the way they wanted, the concept of supporting. They didn't see that represented through any of the supporters groups. So they didn't join the ACB and try to change the ACB. They didn't join Galaxy Outlaws and try to change Galaxy Outlaws. They didn't, if anything, they left Lars. They were Lars members who are, to the best of my knowledge, are still like Lars membership members. But they didn't see the representation that they wanted. So they made it. It's the only difference. A little bit of time, a little bit of energy. You don't have to be me. Please, God, don't be me. You don't have to track stats, and you don't have to need to know all the jersey numbers. By the way, El Tanque wore number 9 for 2 games in 1998, and I got to add him to my list. It's beautiful. He may be the first person to wear a nickname on the back of his jersey because it says Tanque on the back, and it's 98. So that's at least the earliest one I have so far. But you don't need to want to know that. But if you want a little extra atmosphere, start a supporters group where go bother everyone around you. That's how we got 137. We bothered everyone around us. That's how we entrenched ourselves in 138. We bothered everyone around us. Like, make it uncomfortable. You don't like it being a library. You don't like it being quiet. This is what I'll tell you, man. For the people who don't like the supporters group sitting on each side, go to the south end of LAFC Stadium. Go to the south end of LAFC Stadium. It's a fucking library. It's quiet. You could do homework there. You could do your taxes there on the south end. You're on the north end? Ooh. Same chant Seattle does and all these other fucking people do. Wherever in Europe they yanked that chant from. But if you sit on the south end, there's nothing. There's zero atmosphere. If you're in 109 and you got a supporters group, if you're in 131, you got a supporters group. You're in 226 and you got a supporters group. And there is, as president of the Galaxy, Chris Klein said, quote, nowhere to hide. You have the best atmosphere in the league by country mile. By country mile. It's easy. It's easy. Little time and a little effort. Anything you want to get out on, Ben?
No, man, that was beautiful. I want to give you like a standing ovation for that, man. That was awesome.
I need not a standing ovation, sir. I assure you. Thank you guys for everything. Thanks for listening tonight. We have way more people in the live chat than should be just to listen to me
I know,
talk.
just when we throw it out last minute.
I told you we should.
Yeah, maybe we should just get rid of Ed, man. We got even Ed, more man. People when Ed wasn't here.
I can't be up here fucking crying every week. I need Ed to bounce off. He's my spirit animal.
Literally.
To bounce off. Fucking smacking them cheeks. Thank you, everyone.
Hey,
Sorry.
I just want to throw out there. I'm still looking for a ticket for the opener. Just throwing it out there.
I might be able to help you. I'm not sure yet.
I'm just saying you.
Might be able to help you. I gotta ask the boss.
At DT Radio Ben on Twitter.
If we definitely don't need, although we appreciate it, we don't expect or need season tickets from people. If you would like to help this specific show grow, patreon.com/Riot Squadcast. We just got a brand new Patreon member a couple days ago. We got a new one a few weeks ago. New Patreon episode is going out tomorrow. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you're actually getting this episode and the Patreon episode tomorrow. I will be there. I believe all three of us are going to be at the preseason game. Ben's
I'm working.
Ben's not going to be there, but I'll be there for sure. My family's coming. Damien's coming. I believe Ed's going to be there. Ed and his wife, do please come by and say hello. I'm going to have some Riot Squadcast stickers for you. We're going to have some, what would you call these?
I know.
Like a postcard.
Yeah, promotional card.
Promotional card. Maybe you can hand out to somebody you know who may be into listening to Galaxy Podcast, or maybe listening to a fat broke guy cry about, 15 years of his life to a soccer team. But I appreciate it. I appreciate everything. Thank you to everyone who has ever done anything at all positive in my life. And you guys really came through at a moment that I genuinely needed you. I appreciate it. I will always appreciate it. I love every single one of you. And I guess just take care of each other. Like, the best thing I can say, whether you're home, whether you're away, whether you're on the road, ask people if they're okay, and just keep taking care of each other. We love you. We'll see you guys on Tuesday like regular. Like, share, and subscribe. And for the Riot Squadcast, bye!
Fuck you, Brian. Suck a dick, bitch.